Sup y'all, this is my first impression on Brewmaster after playing through the second week of M+ testing. These were the talents I was testing with small variations. Holy shit. So what exactly changed with Brewmaster? The core design of Brew is the same, but Brewmasters now have a lot of new buttons. Bone Dust Brute, Exploding Keg, White Tiger Statue, and Weapons of Order can all be obtained, giving us 4 damage cooldowns. Unfortunately, Ox is now a heavy point investment to do any meaningful damage. Defensively, Dampen Harm and Diffuse Magic are baseline, giving Brewmasters a good amount of extra defensives compared to having just Fort Brew before. Losing the 4 set from Shadowlands definitely hurt self-sustain big time, but some of this is made up for with passives like Grace of the Crane, Close to Hard, and Guy Plin's Imperial Brew. Expel Harm is also a bit more powerful with Expel Harm talents. Brewmaster is definitely back to more of a healing sponge, soaking up a ton of heals and externals. Brew has access to both Charred Passions and Storm Stout's Last Keg legendary from Shadowlands. Rotationally, Brew is a bit bloated compared to before. Rising Sun Kick is now a part of Brewmaster's kit and hits for an absurd amount of single target. With Charred Passions, we will want to keep it up and track its buff. It also means Spinning Crane Kick is the main filler even over Tiger Palm on single target. So this means for Brewmaster's rotation, there's now Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, Keg Smash, Rushing Jade Wind, Breath of Fire, and Spinning Crane Kick, meaning 6 total buttons. So how exactly does this play in M+? Brewmaster has been really fun to play with the wider amount of buttons, but it also makes for really clunky and global locked rotations. Keeping up Rushing Jade Wind and Charred Passions while keeping up the rotational buttons on cooldown takes some getting used to. To set up a big AoE burst, Bone Dust and Exploding Keg are also on a global. Playing Brewmaster has given similar vibes to Prot Pally Wing's Divine Toe Burst. Hitting a massive Exploding Keg is actually the most satisfying feeling in these beta keys I've been doing. Personally, I would have liked for Celestial Brew or Expel Harm to be off the global to alleviate some of this. Having Dampen Harm and Diffuse Magic as extra buttons to deal with incoming damage is also great. I've found Brew to be more difficult to play compared to other tanks. You would need a good understanding of where damage is coming from to make good uses of your new defensives, especially Diffuse Magic, since it's so powerful and best used when you know where magic damage is or debuffs that you can reflect. Knowing when to Purify or Celestial Brew is also important, more so than Shadowlands. Good purifying is especially important because of how Guy Plin heals you for a ton every time you get a big Purify off. When it comes to purifying, it would be best to let Stagger build up and for your HP to dip a bit, allowing for Guy Plin to heal you up. As I've said before, with Rushing Jade Wind, Charred Passions, and Rising Sun Kick, the rotation is a lot busier, requiring more attention than before. Uh-oh, we gotta get here quick before that guy gets over. As for tuning, so far Brew is a little squishier and more healer reliant compared to other tanks. I have seen other Brewmasters on beta using tank trinkets that give them a massive absorb, helping with this a lot, similar to Blood Splattered Scale in Shadowlands. When faced with consistent magic damage, Brew is definitely notably weaker. However, this could generally be solved with one of Brew's many defensives. Brewmaster damage is also insanely high, but that's because of Resonant Fist, especially when paired with Rushing Jade Wind. I've been trying to play these recent beta tests without Resonant Fist to get a better representation of what Brew damage looks like. Charred Passions, Exploding Keg, and Bone Dust all do crazy damage in AoE. Rising Sun Kick does very high single target damage, and any proc type damage like the new Flask, Glacial Fury is also doing higher damage than expected. Most of my concerns with this class come from uncertainties. I don't know what Brew should look like because of all the bugs, gear difference, and talents. Historically, Brew has always felt weak early on until they are geared up. Currently on beta, Brewmaster is an extremely high damage glass cannon. For what it's worth, in M+, it is generally better to be a high damage tank. Brewmaster has never once been bad in M+, and I foresee it being the same in Dragonflight. If Brewmaster does end up doing the most damage, there is a possibility it becomes one of the meta tanks. To sum things up, the class has been a ton of fun to play with a lot of busy buttons, does really high damage, and has a few glaring weaknesses. Brew reminds me of my impression on Prot Warrior, with the rotation feeling more like a DPS spec. The talent tree is also a bit rigid with not having a lot of strong choices. I'm looking forward to see how they end up in Dragonflight. That is all for the video, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on Brewmaster. Oh, my spinning crane kick cancels that. That's pretty dumb.